And with that, we're going to turn it over to Jeff Harrison. Jeff?
Thank you. All right. I'd like to start with something. I heard there was some nostalgia in the room next door, so I thought I'd start with something nostalgic.
This is what it is, okay? I said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
You love that? When I think about artificial intelligence, this is what comes to my mind. It's like water. You've heard a lot of stories this morning and speakers, and they talk about how many things they use it for. But they're talking about really one platform, and that's artificial intelligence. It can be your best friend, it can be your writer, you name it. It can create videos, it creates movies. Today I want to talk about how we're going to use it from a business standpoint to help do two things. Save you time and be more efficient. Anybody interested in that? 3 people. Oh, no, everybody. Okay, good. So, as I say here, AI is way beyond what we think it is. Our goal is to accomplish, in 15 minutes, we're going to create a week's worth of content for social media on 4 different platforms. We're going to do that with one of my clients. I own a company called SwingPointMedia. My name is Jeff Harrison. And we're going to use Fraser Pest Control. Anybody know Fraser Pest Control? There we go. Anybody here they come?
There they go.
There they go. There we go. Oh, right, it's working. All right. So let's get into this. So the first thing we need to do is, where do we even begin when we're talking about social media? Anyone?
With a prompt.
With a prompt?
Question.
A question?
Who you're trying to reach?
Who are you trying to reach? Audience?
Perspective.
It was spoken about it this morning. It's called deep research. Deep research. Now, this is something that as little as 6 months ago, you guys, as a digital marketing agency, we couldn't even afford to do that. The average client couldn't afford to do that because it would take anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks to do deep research on your company, and it would cost tens of thousands of dollars. Now we can do deep research, and we can find out everything about your company. Not only your company that says, hey, what age, what gender, and what their income is, but we can go way, way beyond that, and it'll help with how we communicate. Because let me ask you, anyone here ever gone any, what do they call it, doom scrolling? And no, you don't have to raise your hand for that, I get it. And you know, we're looking for the type that will stop you from scrolling. Yes or yes? Absolutely. So we're going to talk about that. So we're going to find that with deep research. Then we're going to talk about messaging. Because once you have everything you need, then you can create messages. Now, let me give you an example. There's a thing called noise and signal. Has anybody heard that before? There's a lot of noise on the internet. A few years ago, I had to go to New York City. I was actually going through a conference, again, just about like this, and I was on the front of a bus, and somebody asked me, where am I from? And I said, from California. And I swear, 15 rows back, somebody said, hey, I'm from California? What part? Come on, really? How many people live in California? Right? There's no chance we know one another, but that's the difference between signal and noise, because there was a lot of noise, a lot of people talking, but as soon as I said California, somebody in the back. We want to make sure our messaging cuts through the noise. And then, of course, we're going to create it. So, ready? Here we go. So the first thing is to know thy customer. And this is where we talk about creating the ideal avatar. Who said that earlier? I know somebody did. It's okay, you don't have to raise your hand. I know who you are. So we're going to talk about demographics, psychographics, fears, and concerns. Now, typically, like I said, when you're doing normal research, we talk about age, gender, and income. Psychographics are values and interests. Then we talk about fears and concerns. When we made this shift, all of a sudden things really started to happen. Because all of a sudden our social media posts for our clients started going way up. Our interactions started going way up. Their phones began to ring differently. So this is a prompt if we can all read this together, no, I'm just kidding. Basically, as you might have heard, we want to start out by saying who we are, who we want it to be. In this case, you're a data research analyst. And then you tell it what you want it to do, you tell it where you want it to go, and then just hit the button. Here's the simple stuff. This is usually that level where most marketing companies, yes, even myself, 15 years in, we would do this. Location, household income, and property type, where these people live. Remember, we're talking about a pest control company. Here's where it changes. The psychographic and motivations. We start talking about the health and eco-consciousness of their ideal customers. That's what we found in this research. They want to know that if somebody's coming in to spray chemicals in their home, it's not going to affect their pets or their children. Changes the messages, right? Value and reliability. This is a company that they prize decades of local family-owned business. We'd rather work with a family-owned business than a nameless, we'd rather use somebody other than Amazon if they're local. No offense to any Amazons, a private package we're talking about right now. They want peace of mind. They want to set it and forget it. They know that every time they come out, it's once a month, it's taken care of, and they're not calling saying, oh my gosh, my wife wakes up and says, we have ants in the pantry. We don't want that. We want to be able to say, hey, every month they're going to come out and take care of us. This is how their customers are thinking. Because back in our prompt, I said, don't just tell me about the company, tell me about their customers. Go look on Reddit. Go look on all the social media platforms and find out what their customers are thinking and feeling. And that's how we get this. Also, the community involvement. If you know Fraser Pest Control, they're involved in the community. They're big in Big Brothers and Boys and Girls Clubs. They're really supportive in Cathedral City. Then we talk about their pain points. Now remember, these are the pain points of your ideal customer. Let's face it, you don't want to wake up and hear that scratching in the wall. Especially if it's 2 a.m. and your wife or your spouse or your partner saying, hey, what's that noise? And you're like, I can't get to it anyway, right? And you were sleeping real soundly. They want to protect... who laughing because I know they must have... Yeah, okay. All right. So protecting the loved ones. You're concerned about your children, your pets, and also preventative maintenance orientation. We talked about that a little bit. So this starts talking about the fears that they're dealing with. When you start putting your messages together, guys, what's going to happen is this is cutting through the noise and it's becoming the signal that somebody says, oh, that's who I want to be. That's who I want to connect with. You can use it in your own business exactly the same way. Does that make sense? Okay. Marketing message and strategy. We want to highlight the longevity and the trust of this company. Now, Joe and Julie have been doing pest control for 37 years, and they've had family run since 2007. We can trust them. They've been around a while, right? They're invested in the community. They promote safety and eco-friendliness. All their chemicals are safe. You can have your cat, my cat, yeah, even my cat, lick it after they spray on it, and they're not going to get hurt. There's not enough chemicals in there. There's nothing wrong for that. They offer flexible, no-contract type of service. So I don't have to say, well, to get this price, I've got to pay, or I've got to sign up for 2 years. I don't have to do that. They show local participation. We talked about that. They're involved in other communities, but they also deal with HOAs, and they're involved in the Palm Springs Chamber of Commerce. So this is telling us a lot more than we were before. Typically, like I said, this would probably take about 2 to 3 weeks to get all this information. We did it. Now, it wasn't real time, but it's pretty darn close. It probably took less than 5 minutes. Anybody interested in saving weeks? Oh, by the way, it didn't cost $15,000 either, right? But now what we can do as small business owners, which I am one, is we can compete against the very largest. And I'm going to keep that idea in mind. Compete against the very largest and win, because I've got a cool story about the Fraser Pest Control here. Okay. It even tells us what channels to target. Now remember, this came from just that first prompt. Man, we're loaded, right? This is like going on a European vacation. We got it all covered. Local Google ads, sponsorship and HOAs, partnership and articles. Collaborative marketing is so powerful. If you're not doing it, find somebody who has your ideal customer and join with them, right? That you don't compete against. So this is kind of a summary. Now, It says Cathedral City, Palm Springs homeowner age 35 to 65 with middle to upper income. They're family and pet oriented. Do you think with that one line, you'd probably put some pets in your ads? I know I would, right? Do you think you would show family? Absolutely, because those are the things that are on their mind, subconsciously or consciously. And it says values, environmental safety, and peace of mind. Do you think you'd talk about the way they decide on using their chemicals, and all their staff, when they go out, before they go out, they're trained and they do tremendous recertifications over and over? And I'm not trying to sell you on, okay, I'd like you to go to Fraser Pest Control, but I'm not trying to sell you on Fraser Pest Control, but what I'm putting out here is understanding how powerful, now that you have all this information, you can make your messages. Would that make a difference? How am I doing? Is this okay?
Bad.
Okay, thank you. She's my check-in, sorry. All right, so now let's make content, because that took all of, what I say, about 10 minutes. So now let's make some content. So now what I did is I took all that information and I fed it right back into AI, and I said, now let's go make the content. You know everything you need to know to do that. So then I said, I want to put it on 4 different platforms. I want to do it 5 days a week. I want to make sure it's customized for each one. Now, I don't want you to raise your hand, but you can if you want to. How many of you actually take a piece of content that was on Facebook, copy and paste it over to YouTube or over to LinkedIn, or vice versa? Versus you make custom content for each platform, right? Because each platform wants you to be their only friend, right? They want you to only post on there. We can't do that. We have business to run. Yes or yes? We're busy. So we're going to customize each one of those pieces of content for that platform. And we're going to make sure to put the hashtags on there, make a great title that is engaging, and then write the copy. And all of a sudden, guess what happens? Oh my gosh. Now this is just one day because I didn't want to put so much up there to be microscopic and you couldn't read it. But this is from one day. And you can see each one of these are different for each one. Platform Facebook, it's a little bit lengthier, right? Instagram, short and right to the point, because you don't get to see very much. And then when it goes to Google Business, pest control season's here. I wanted to point out it because it says across Cathedral City for 37 years. What is that emphasizing again, the 37 years? Yeah, longevity. They're invested in the community. It jumps out at them. And then look at this. For LinkedIn, property managers, if you remember, it said something about the yeah, you saw it, didn't you? It said something about HOAs being involved in that. And it brings it up right there. Again, these are the things about saying, I'm from California. Oh, I'm from California, right? HOA managers, I need to pay attention to this. Is this making sense?
Yeah. Yes.
Should be writing this down. It's really important. Oh, she is. Okay, good. Here we go. So now, what about images? You got to have images. So what I did is I went right back in. I said, hey, do me a favor. Look at each one of the days, each one of the posts, and I want you to write the ideal, perfect prompt to support that message. I didn't do anything except just put that in there. This is what it came up with. Tell me, what do we see in the image that was in our research?
The family.
The family. What else?
The desert.
The desert? Yeah. They have a pet cockroach. That's exactly, because that's the big one. It's got a collar on it, right? Yeah. So this is what sells it, because that's what's going to help you stop. Because the last thing you want to do, I've had this happen before. I'll come home, my wife will say, there's a centipede in the hallway. I'm like, it's a centipede, kill it, get rid of it. It's only this big. No, she waited for me. But it appears like the size of that. I'm going to assume, is that a cockroach on there? Yeah, it appears that big. So what this does, from that one prompt we started out with, it creates all that content. This took less than 5 minutes, gang, for a week's worth of content. Now, here's what I want to share with you. If you are competing, that's why I'm not coming over there, I'm sorry, it's nothing personal. If you are trying to compete by doing it all by hand, and you're competing against her and she's using this, It's not a race. It's a beating. And I want you to realize it's a beating because you won't be able to keep up with her. First of all, because you didn't do the deep research. Your real surface, your noise, she's signal. Does that make sense? So now once we have all the content, somebody said, James over there said, but Jeff, how are we going to post it? There are many, many ways. I'm just going to show one here. This is Loomly. Anybody familiar with Loomly? Loomly is an opportunity to take all that content now and put it on a calendar and say, I'm going to put it out a certain day. 8 o'clock, we've discovered, is the best time for our customers to find that. If you notice, this is 8 a.m., and it's for next week. And it's all up there. Again, that might have taken 5 more minutes. So we've got, what, 10 minutes? Let's call it 10 and 5, so less than half an hour. Oh, wait a minute, I said less than that, didn't I? Okay, so 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and we've got everything posted. Now, I've had people say this. It did hurt my feelings a little bit. They said, okay, great, we got all that content out there, Jeff, but now what is it doing for us? How many of you ever made a decision when it comes to making a buying decision that you looked at reviews? Anybody? Yeah, the statistics are 92% of us will. I know 32% just didn't raise your hand. But here's kind of what happens. It had an impact on their business. Ma'am, how much does that say right there that went up in clicks percentage? 719%. Is that big or huge? Huge. How about with the impressions? Almost 600%. In other words, it got shown to more people. Now, if you've been on social media for a while, they keep saying our reach is getting less. We've gotten it to go by 600%. Why? Because when people engage with your content, the algorithms will say, let's show more people your content because they're interested in it. It's not boring. It's not noise. Oh, and also, anybody heard of what's called a 3-pack? 3-pack? It's the first 3 things that come up in Google. Like if you put in their HVAC company, or in this case, pest control company in Cathedral City, and it gives you 3, that's like the gold standard. They get like 67% of all traffic. Notice where they're at? Number 2. We're moving up. We've already gone up 0.1%. So that means they get seen. We won't. It's like saying, oh, you're in the top 10, you won't go to page 2. Same thing here. Here's those reviews. Now, I just took these last night, 21 hours ago, 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago. How many stars are up there? 5. And the thing I love about it, it almost makes me tear up because this is what we work for. We work for our customers to be successful. And when we get reports back like this that said, oh, wait a minute, watch this. Fraser Pest Control has been doing a great job taking over the pest control at Monterey Country Club. Do you remember who we said we should target? HOAs. They just picked up a whole country club. Get out of here. Anybody want to take care of a whole country club with your business? Yeah. So, what's happened as a result? Well, as we said, over the course of 8 or 9 months, by the way, they've only been a client for about 8 or 9 months, okay? So we can't expect a lot. Can't expect a lot. Their website traffic increased, we saw that, did we not? We saw the higher rankings in Google, did we not? You can see, okay. Yep. And then they get new customers. Now, Joe and Julie were in Cabo for 2 weeks. I don't know how they could afford it, but they were in Cabo for 2 weeks, and they said their phone keeps ringing. That's the cool thing about it. We added 2,200. That's 2,200 new customers that are reoccurring clients because of this. Yes, those are like chill bumps on my body. I'm excited for them. Because we did this. Now, I want to be straight up. Early on I said, if you do this, you're able to compete against who? The big boys, the big girls, the big companies. The way they got this client, and I don't want to mislead anybody, is 2,200, but it's under one umbrella. And it's in 29 palms. And they were looking, the company, or 29 Palms was looking around saying, hey, we want somebody to take care of all the homes up there. There's 2,200 of them. And they looked at like Terminex and Dewey and what are some other names, Western. And they said, we chose you. Now, I know it's going to sound corny, but because you've been in the desert for 37 years, you've owned your company since 2007 as a family-owned business. You have great 5-star reviews. You have a big, strong presence in your local community. You support the Big Brothers, or excuse me, the Boys and Girls Club. Sorry, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, one of our clients. Boys and Girls Clubs. They said, we'd rather you do it than one of these national brands. You see how we stood out and said, it's a signal, it's not noise. When you're noise, you get overlooked. We've all seen it. We've all been there. Find out. It all started with how many prompts? 1. We started with surface research, or did we go deep? Deep research. There we go. Thank you. So, I have this saying as we start to wrap up. It should accomplish 2 things. If it doesn't do this, it should be something that a human should be doing. The first is it should save time. Did we prove we saved time? Yeah. We actually did something at SwingPointMedia about, now it's been about 17, 18 months ago. We created, using artificial intelligence, we created a workflow to create all of our content. We have 17 writers on staff, and normally for a client to make their blog, their video, their social media posts, and all of their emails, it would take about 3 to 5 days. Lots of hours. When we built this, we now can create all of that in about 10 minutes. Images, SEO. So I said, okay, I'm going to keep doing that. And then we just keep improving upon it. The other one should be, anybody want to guess? What's that? Oh, come on. No, we already saved time. We have to save money. Money's obvious. Be more efficient. See, I believe that AI should not say, I'm going to save you money so you can work harder. Anybody want to get on that camp? Yeah, not me. There's too many golf courses in the desert, right? Even this time of year, it's not bad to play golf. So save time and be more efficient. So here's some final takeaways. One is, you want to tell your AI who you want it to be. There are many times where I'll say, and you heard this maybe a couple talks ago, and I'm just going to reiterate this. Many times people come to me and say, you know what, Jeff, I really like your content, but it doesn't sound like me. So what I did is I said, well, what if I took all her content she's made before and I feed it back into AI, and then I show it to her, she says, oh my gosh, it sounds just like me. And it does. It's freaky good. Freaky good. Remember the water. It can take on any shape, any form. I mean, I see many different forms here filled with water. Don't you? Yeah. Okay. Tell it what you want it to do. Be very specific. I want to do deep research on X, Y, and Z. And give it some ideas of where to go. Is this making sense, gang?
Yeah.
Because I'm excited. I don't know if you noticed. If you're not sure, ask it. Like, hey, I know when I first started doing this AI stuff, I didn't even know what to ask. But now I find out, I'll just ask it, what should I know about this? How should I ask this? What prompt should I use to make this? And all of a sudden it comes back with the answer. I'm like, ooh, that's really good. Let's use it. The other one is, once you have a proven process, now I have to give it a disclaimer. My wife heard this yesterday, she said, you better say this. My wife owns a hair salon. So this is how I came up with this comment. Lather, rinse, repeat. I said, where'd you get this? This is on the back of every shampoo bottle. Right. Lather, rinse, repeat. So once you have a process, do it. Like I talked about my automated workflow, it's been in place for about 16 to 18 months, but we've continually iterated it. We now are adding AI agents. We're building, actually they're built, 10 AI agents that now work. Imagine it's an assembly line, and there's 10 of these little agents checking every piece. So now the content we put out of our customers, this was after Joe's stuff, Fraser Pest Control. It's only going to get what? Better, more efficient. I'm excited about that. So, AI is your new best friend. It's not your enemy. Embrace it. But here's the thing. Act like it's somebody you've invited into your home. If you don't take your shoes off, ask them to take the shoes off. But tell them what you want to do. It never gets mad. I've tried and it just doesn't get mad. And it never gives up. Sometimes it might freeze and I'll do it again. And it'll say, oh, I'm sorry. I got stuck, let me do that again. And it will give me the answer I'm looking for. But here's the cool thing. Does it take longer or is it shorter? Shorter. It saves me time, so that's why I go back at it. There we go. So I want to thank you all for your attention today. My name is Jeff Harrison. I own a company called SwingPointMedia. I'm in La Quinta. Thank you. No, come on, thank you. I hope you've gotten something from this, because I'll tell you what, if you just take one piece of information, like if you just take the deep research piece and you add that to your business, it will change it for you. Thank you, guys.
We have time for one or two questions.
Do you have a favorite platform, AI platform that you use?
I tend to use ChatGPT only because it's like, you know, some people have a Mac and some have a PC, but they kind of do the same thing. I haven't seen a reason why not to, so that's my long answer to ChatGPT. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
How does it affect your pricing now for your services? People kind of know that, like, oh, it only takes you 30 minutes or 5 minutes to do some of this, but I still want you to do it. I don't want it on me.
You might want to repeat the questions.
Yeah. I don't want to repeat that one. She asked me, she said, now that I can do it faster, how do I now adjust my prices, or how do I justify my prices? I'll tell you a little story. And it goes like this, to be short, I promise. Guy has a problem with his plumbing. It's not draining properly. He's been trying everything. Calls the plumber. Plumber comes over, drains, gives him a bill for $500. He says, what are you talking about? It took like 2 minutes. He said, it's not that. It's that 20 years of experience. I know where to hit the pipe. And my business coach back there, Leslie, raise your hand, Leslie. I thought the same thing. I thought, well, now it's taking me 10 minutes. Should I lower my price? She said, I'll kill you if you, what? Yeah, too many people. She said, you don't want to do that. Because you've earned that, right? You've earned that. If you do it yourself, it's going to take longer. Now, when I use 100% AI through my content accelerator, there is a different price, right? So I do some of that. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Because I said everything I have is automated, this was back when nobody really knew what we were supposed to do. So I just said, what if I could do this and this? And I just kept tinkering with it. And then I brought on a designer and said, let's make this. I didn't know if it would work, but it did. This is before I knew that I should have just asked ChatGPT, I want to set this up, what should I do, right? So we built it. And it probably took, I think, from start to finish, 3 weeks. Now with these 10 AI agents, it took 6 days, so it's faster. So yeah, and we use Make. You can use N8N, right? But I use Make, and then I use ChatGPT, and I use Airtable to run everything. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned that you got prompt help. It's like, what should my prompt be?
Yep.
After it gives it to you, can you say, yeah, just use that, and will it just use that, or do you have to literally copy it into a new chat and use it that way?
I usually try to use it into the same conversation because it remembers all of that, right? Now, if I'm creating something specific outside of that I'm going to use someplace else, then I'll copy and paste it. Yep. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the conference. I'll be out front. Thank you.
Yeah, if you have more questions, Mark and all the speakers will be out in the pavilion.